This special edition of the broadcast will be updating you on everything that's been happening around the world over the course of the next 30 minutes. So let's start with some international news first, where US President Donald Trump's former national security advisor has pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his communication with Russian connections. Now, Flynn was charged with one count of lying about his private discussions with the Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. The Flynn is ready to cooperate in the ongoing investigations into the alleged Russia links with the Trump campaign. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has not responded to any questions that were put forth to him by the reporters about the indictment of his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. According to the American news outlet, Flynn is prepared to testify that Trump had directed him to make contact with the Russians when he was running for the presidency seat. And President Donald Trump has vehemently denied reports that he was planning to sack US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. He took to Twitter and called the reports as fake news, and also said that despite the differences, he and Rex Tillerson have a good working relationship. He, however, also added that he has the final say in foreign policy discussions, despite the fact that Rex Tillerson is the Secretary of State and ideally that is his mandate. Now, earlier on Friday, Rex Tillerson called reports of his exits from the White House as laughable. The multiple news outlets have speculated that the White House is planning to oust Tillerson and replace him with the CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who's seen as more pliable to the demands of Donald Trump. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has called the United States' threat to destroy North Korea in the event of a war as a bloodthirsty speech. Lavrov said that the military action against Pyongyang will be a big mistake for the entire region. Lavrov has strongly condemned the comments that were made by Nikki Haley, who warned that the US will utterly destroy North Korea if war were to break out. Her comments came after Pyongyang test-fired its most advanced missile this week. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has said that Washington's approach to the issue of North Korea has not changed. While speaking about Pyongyang's latest missile launch, Donald Trump said that it is a situation that will be handled in an appropriate manner. Now, in Germany, the famous Potsdam Christmas market had to be evacuated on Friday after an explosive device was found in one of the pharmacies at the market. Now, the police, however, have later confirmed that the suspect package had no ignition device. Now, the suspicious packet was a box with nails inside it. The nails were found through an X-ray screening of the packet. Now, Germany has been on high alert for nearly a year since the ISIS attacker had rammed a vehicle into a Christmas market in Berlin, which had killed as many as 11 people. Violent protests and clashes flared up in Bolivia after President Evo Morales has announced that he'll be running for a fourth term. Bolivia's constitutional court has allowed President Morales to run for a fourth consecutive term in 2019. The court, however, has annulled the result of a referendum that was held last year in which a majority of Bolivians had rejected his proposal to change the constitution. Homelessness has surged in Rio de Janeiro and other cities in Brazil as the country grapples with its worst economic crisis in decades and rising unemployment and inflation rates. In 2016, more than 14,000 people were homeless in Rio, up from 5,500 in 2013. The Syrian government negotiators for the Geneva talks have quit the UN-led peace talks. The negotiator has blamed the opposition's rejection of any role for President Bashar al-Assad in a transition for his decision to quit. The opposition has been demanding Assad's resignation to bring stability in the war-torn country. Meanwhile, the Syrian opposition and the Syrian Negotiations Commission has denied the government's accusations. The opposition spokesperson has said that they came with no preconditions and that they still sought a political solution. Amidst the political crisis, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir has said that Lebanon could only flourish when Iranian-backed group Hezbollah disarms. He further added that Lebanon has been hijacked by Hezbollah. The group's growing strength has alarmed Saudi Arabia, which is Iran's arch-rival in the region. The forensic scientists have identified the remains of 88 Argentine soldiers who were buried in anonymous graves on the Falkland Islands after the country's 1982 conflict with Britain. The results were presented to the Argentine and the British delegations, and Argentine authorities will inform the families of the soldiers directly and confidentially. In 1982, as many as 255 British troops and about 650 Argentine soldiers had died during Britain's two-month war to reclaim the Falkland Islands, which Argentina calls the Malvinas. 16 days after the Argentine submarine went missing, the families of the 44 crew members are demanding the government to continue with the search. The Navy earlier had said that the search was no longer considered a rescue mission, but it will continue looking for the missing submarine. Now, Pope Francis had an emotional meeting with the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh and used the word Rohingya to describe them for the very first time on his Asian trip. Now, he's urged the people and the government to respect the Rohingyas. The Pope also looked pained as he listened to the 16 refugees who told him their struggle. Pope Francis on Friday swapped his world-famous Pope mobile for a traditional rickshaw to ride through the crowded streets of Dhaka. The Pope eased himself into the colourful vehicle. He rode the rickshaw into the venue where an interreligious meeting took place. European Union President Donald Tusk has said that the Union will not accept any Brexit offer from Britain that is unacceptable to Ireland. The statement comes after he held talks with the Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar. He also went on to state that the European Union will not accept Britain's demand for talks on a post-Brexit transition and future trade pact if Ireland is not satisfied with London's offer on the border arrangements with Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, the Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar has said that the British government must produce concrete solutions in the coming days to ensure that there will be no hard border in Ireland if it wants to move on to the next phase of Brexit talks. Rio's famous Christ the Redeemer statue was lit on Friday to commemorate the World AIDS Day. The statue became a red beacon as a symbol of awareness and support for people living with HIV. Now, around the world, according to UNICEF, nearly 37 million people were living with HIV last year. Now, in their first appearance after the engagement announcement, Britain's Prince Harry and his fiancée Meghan Markle visited a charity AIDS fair in Nottingham to mark the World AIDS Day. The couple later met and interacted with students at a school in the city. Well, to some national news now. In the Indian Navy Chief Sunil Lamba has said that the Indian Navy has started a project to build 6 nuclear-powered submarines. He, however, has declined to disclose further details on the project, calling it as classified information. The move is being viewed as India's bid to counter the growing influence of the Chinese submarines in the Indian Ocean under the pretext of anti-piracy patrolling. Now, addressing the controversy surrounding Padmavati, filmmakers Anurag Kashyap and Anand L. Rai on Friday said that many in the film fraternity are scared to come out in the open to support director Sanjay Leela Bhansali. Bhansali has been at the receiving end of the fringe Rajput groups and politicians who have accused him of distorting historical facts, a claim repeatedly denied by the director, and the makers had to defer the 1st of December release date and are still awaiting the clearance from the censor board. Now, both Kashyap and Rai have also spoken about the atmosphere of fear and why they will not judge people for not backing Bhansali openly. Now, it's a case of horrific medical negligence that has come to light from India's national capital, New Delhi. A family has claimed that one of their twins, who was declared dead by the doctors, was actually alive. The Max Hospital in Delhi's Shalimar Bagh had declared the twins as dead, reportedly due to premature birth. They were handed over in a plastic bag to the family and were being taken for their last rites when one of the twins was found alive by the relatives. After skipping summons 6 times, former Bihar Chief Minister Rabri Devi is expected to appear before the Enforcement Directorate in Patna in connection with the Railway Hotels allotment corruption case. Now, Rabri Devi, the wife of RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav, is expected to meet the investigating officer of the money laundering case at the ED zonal office in Bihar's capital Patna and record her statement. The Lalu Prasad, who was the railway minister in the UPA government, the CBI has already recorded the statements of Tejaswi and Lalu Prasad in this case. The feud between the MNS and Mumbai Congress chief Sanjay Nirupam over the hawkers issue has taken a violent turn on Friday after workers of the Raj Thackeray-led party vandalized the office of the Congress leader and called it a surgical strike, while the MNS has claimed responsibility for the attack at the Mumbai Regional Congress Committee office at the Azad Maidan. In South Mumbai, the police have also arrested the 8 MNS workers in the evening. The Nirupam had come out in support of the hawkers against whom the MNS had launched an agitation following a stampede at the Elphinstone railway station on the 29th of September. Nirupam and MNS workers later clashed in North Mumbai. Now, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has called on the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization security bloc to make coordinated efforts to combat terrorism. While addressing the 16th meeting of the Council of the SCO Heads of Government in Sochi, Sushma Swaraj said that New Delhi is willing to work together with member countries to seek comprehensive, cooperative and sustainable security for the entire region. A red warning has been issued for the Lakshadweep Islands as the Cyclone Ockhi powers its way towards the island off India's southern coast. As many as 14 people have been killed in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The Met Department has also predicted the storm may intensify further over Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep Islands disaster management teams are organizing beaching of all mechanized boats to main shore in order to prevent large-scale damage before the cyclone gathers more strength and comes closer to other middle and northern islands. The former US President Barack Obama said that the relationship between New Delhi and Washington DC could be the defining partnership of the 21st century. Obama made the comments while addressing a gathering of young leaders from across the country in the national capital, New Delhi.